Good morning and welcome to our first podcast of 2020. It's pretty amazing how quickly the years fly by, isn't it? Holy moly, I'm going to be 50 this year. I might have to take some time to contemplate that and prepare myself for the big 5-0. But let's get into, on a more serious note. I had to break up with him. 13 years ago, I stopped doing something that was very self-destructive. You see, I was madly in love, and mentally, he was not very healthy for me. I ended our relationship. It was hard, but I had to do it. He always made me feel defeated. He made me have low self-esteem. He made me feel angry. He made me feel worthless, fat, ugly, ashamed. One day I woke up and I had enough. I looked at him and said, "Screw you," and I threw him out. I threw him out of my house. I kicked Mr. Scale to the curb. That's right, I'm talking about a scale. You know, the ones you step on and you weigh yourself? Yeah. I stopped weighing myself on a daily basis. Why, you ask? Because like a lot of women, I had this magic number in my head as to what I should weigh. And whenever I jumped on the scale and that number was off by even a pound, it would throw me into a tizzy. Oh, I'd get pissed off. I'd get sad. I'd feel defeated. I'd think, why do I even bother doing all this stuff? I do all this work for nothing. I might as well do nothing. Those were some of the thoughts that would swirl around in my head. And then one of two things would happen. It would either spark a fire under my butt and I'd go head deep into some fad diet. I'd buy some stupid 5-minute ab video, which I never looked at. I'm pretty sure I threw it out with the original wrapping still on it. I'd obsess about my workout regimen and my eating, and that's not healthy either. Or it would hit me the other way, and this was the path I normally took because it was easier. It would leave me feeling depressed and defeated, and all I wanted to do was wallow in self-pity and use food for comfort. I'd think, well, screw it, I might as well eat a gallon of ice cream, and I would. I would eat it right out of the container. And then I'd feel sick and guilty, and the cycle continued like that for years. It was very destructive, and I think I have to look it up, but it's been many years now, but I think my heaviest weight was 158 pounds, which I know probably doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm only 5'2", and my body composition was at 42.6%, which means out of 158 pounds, 42.6% of that weight was fat, which is not very healthy. That number should be 25 or less. But I've since realized that Mr. Scale never really loved me, and our relationship was toxic, and I decided it was best to break up with him. I have learned that he tells me lies and makes me feel terrible. I did even go as far as throwing him out of the house. Good riddance. I know, on a serious note though, I don't own a scale. And I haven't for years. Instead of using all my energy and focusing on a silly number, I decided to shift my thought pattern and focus on actually doing things to make me feel better. And it's not easy to change and to create new habits, but if you take it a day at a time, it will happen. And I accomplished this by making simple changes to my eating habits. Simple changes in the beginning. I added a consistent exercise regimen. I only did strength training 3 days a week out of 7. I changed my sleeping habits. I went to bed at a certain time and I woke up at a certain time. And you have to have discipline with that. If your alarm goes off, shut it off and get up. It's too easy. It's too easy to hit that snooze button. So discipline is part of it. I also took a good look at how I was managing my stress levels. I wasn't. Person that suffers panic attacks and anxiety. Yeah, I was out of control. So I have added meditation to my life, and I don't go on some crazy hour-long meditation sessions, or all-day sessions. It's between 2 and 5 minutes a day, and sometimes I do it twice a day for 2 minutes, once in the morning and once before bed, and that has been extremely helpful. And if you don't know how to meditate, a lot of people think meditation, you go into this zone and you think nothing. Part of meditation is you have thoughts that pop into your head like dishes or laundry, and part of it is recognizing that and then letting it go and coming back to your breath. But you can Google, there's so many guided meditations. I like the guided ones because it helps to keep me focused and present on what I'm doing. So just Google guided meditation. You will be lost forever. So to my amazement, the less I focused on Mr. Scale, the more I focused on improving my lifestyle habits. I started to overall feel better about myself. My clothes were starting to get bigger on me. I started to feel better in my own skin. My self-confidence was slowly creeping back into my life, which was motivation. Defeating my own self-destructive habits and overcoming a few scary health crises, I am now a huge fitness advocate. I was in the hospital a few times thinking I was having a heart attack at 38 years old. So I know defeating my own self-destructive habits was one of the biggest things I could have done. I encourage all of you to break up with Mr. Scale. Kick him out of your life. He's not good for you. Instead of stepping on the scale every day and becoming disappointed or frustrated because that magic number didn't appear, and continuing with the self-destructive behavior, I encourage you to take a step towards making healthier lifestyle choices. By doing so, you will mentally feel better about yourself, and you will be making big strides to healthier habits, a happier you. You are a beautiful human being, not a number. Love yourself enough to focus on the things that matter to your health and not some silly Mr. Scale. Also, I'd like to jump into there's a big misconception about that number as well. Did you know that 5 pounds is 5 pounds no matter what it is? I know, it sounds silly, doesn't it? Don't be obsessed with that scale number. I'll tell you why. As you can see, I'm going to post a picture with this podcast so you can visually see. As you can see in the picture to the left, the 5 pounds of fat is much bulkier and more spread out than the 5 pounds of muscle. However, 5 pounds is still 5 pounds. Don't for 1 minute think muscle weighs more than fat. I hear it all the time coaching people. Oh, muscle weighs more than fat. This is not true. Again, I'll say 5 pounds is 5 pounds, whether it's fat, muscle, cookies, apples. If it's 5 pounds, it's 5 pounds. If there are a ton of bricks and a ton of feathers, they both weigh a ton. The difference is this: fat is bulkier and lumpier, so if you carry an extra 5 pounds of fat, you'll be lumpier and appear larger than if you had 5 pounds of muscle. A 5-pound pile of fat will take up more space or volume than a 5-pound pile of muscle, but 5 pounds is still 5 pounds. Get it? The correct way to state the muscle weighs more than fat statement would be muscle is heavier by volume than fat. A woman weighing 130 pounds with 20% body fat will look much smaller and be much healthier than a woman at 135 pounds with 40% body fat. They weigh the same, 130 pounds. Yet their body composition is very different because muscle is more dense than fat. A person with less fat and more muscle will look smaller and leaner. The person with more body fat will have to worry about potential health conditions that are linked to a high body composition, such as high blood pressure, fatigue, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and more than likely, they will also suffer from lost wages and lost productivity due to having to take sick time because of the aforementioned conditions. So stop being obsessed with the scale and your body weight and start paying attention to the important number, which is body composition. That is the number that is important, and that's not to be confused with BMI. BMI is also another skewed number. How much fat-free or lean weight versus fat weight is much more important than your total body weight. It's my job as a coach to unbrainwash everyone out there who is stepping on the scale every day. Stop it. Throw it away. So as always, everyone, if you need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. This is Lori with the Dalai Nala. It's time to wake up and live.